Hi guys, good day everyone. You're welcome to the AI for Africa session on learning agentic AI with CrewAI. So in this 10-day series, we are going to be going through how we can build agentic AI solutions with CrewAI. So CrewAI is a Python library or a framework that you can use to build agentic AI solutions. So when we talk about AI agents, so AI agents are basically LLMs with tools. So what do I mean by LLM with tools? So take for example, you have an LLM like ChatGPT, like Claude, and so on. Before now, ChatGPT only has the ability to give you give you responses based on data it has been trained with. So at some point, some years ago, if you ask ChatGPT what is the trending news today, it will tell you it does not know because it was trained up until a specific date. And this was a challenge with LLMs. But with agentic AI or with agentic AI capabilities, it now has access to tools beyond its own ability to think, to respond to questions. It has access to tools that can enable it to search through the web. So now that it can search through the web, then it now has the ability to know what is the trending news today. So what does that mean? It means agentic AI is LLM with tools. Tools that enhances the capabilities of LLM to be able to perform tasks that ordinarily it won't be able to perform in itself. And that is agentic AI. So we can see the use cases of that in so many areas. An example is the search tool I just mentioned earlier. So you want to ask questions in a specific website, LLM can search through that website and get you the specific information you want. And in a better way, since LLM can has capabilities to organize content, read through them, think through them, and respond directly to your questions. So that's agentic AI. And then many other tools like currency conversion, like calculator, sometimes they go as well. If you send some questions to LLMs like ChatGPT, it will struggle to be able to answer it, or it will find it difficult to answer it in an arithmetic way. Or if you ask it, what is so amount in naira? So I believe many of us here, except Tadili, is from Nigeria. Okay, so if you ask ChatGPT, convert maybe $100 to naira, Nigerian naira, to struggle to do that because it does not have the data that is up to date for that currency conversion. But now it has capabilities to tools and many other things. Then it can enhance its ability to do those things. So we see agentic AI as the hand, the tools that give hand to LLM. Think about a human that is a human can think of building high-rise buildings, thousands of kilometers of roads, but it does not have a hand. It does not have a hand. So how does it build it? Very difficult. LLM can think about a lot of things, has the ability to process vast amounts of information, and a lot of things. But it does not have the tool that enables it to do it. How does it do it? Very difficult. And that is agentic AI. Agentic AI can extend from single workflow, like the examples I have given earlier. The ability to approach each of these solutions individually could be seen as single workflow to multi-agent solutions or multi-agent workflows, where you now have multiple agents working concurrently with an AI to solve a problem. Without so much talking, I'm going to take you through. So in this session, we are going to be doing, this session is going to be 10 days. So you are going to be, for each day, you are going to be having class sessions where you learn how to build agentic AI solutions, as well as assignments that you'll be given to submit. And you also be given access to a drive folder where you are going to be uploading your assignments for each day. So I wish you good luck as you proceed in this 10 days journey of learning agentic AI with CrewAI. Before I proceed, I will introduce myself. My name is Farouk Afolabi, the founder of AI for Africa. And I'd like to hear from you as well. I want to know your name, your country, and why you want to learn agentic AI with CrewAI. If you want to speak, you can just raise up your hands, okay? Nancy, you can speak.
Um, Hello everyone, good evening. My name is Nancy. I'm from Nigeria, and I would like to learn agentic AI because I did an agentic AI class I think earlier this year, and I really didn't understand everything that was taught. So we taught about I think Olama and Grok. These were the two stuff. Okay, and I think Langchain that we're using. Yeah, so I really hope to understand deep enough during this class. Thank you.
You're welcome, Nancy. So, and I wish this class helps you to bridge the gap to what's building agentic AI workflows. Daniel, I'd like to hear from you as well.
Good evening, everybody. Sorry, good day. Um, my name is Daniel Akumbi. From Nigeria, and I would love to learn agentic AI with Crew AI because I've not worked with Crew AI before. I've just worked with LangChain and LangGraph in building agentic systems. So I would love to work with this tool so that I can build solutions for my immediate environment and Africa at large. Thank you.
You're welcome, Daniel. I also wish you get the best out of this session. Simon, since you typed something, can we hear from you?
Yes, hello everyone. I am Simon. I'm from Tanzania and I'm interested in learning agentic AI, particularly for my startup that I'm trying to launch. And my focus is AI and health. So this will be the basis for me. Thank you.
It's great meeting with you, Simon. Thank you. Taduli, do you have a word to say with us?
Okay, good evening, everyone. I used agentic AI. I used to build agentic AI before using Olama. So using the small large models, language models like Llama 3, Mistral, Aya for African, Tini Aya, and so on and so on. So I wanted to know how the RAG systems actually how it works. How can we integrate multiple AI agents for working a specific task like for OCR document? Especially, I want to know about local inference. How can we work on local inference rather than sending our data publicly to the cloud, like for to the OpenAI or Google or as Microsoft products. Yeah. So I want to know, especially for the local inference models, to work on our specific task. Thank you so much, and I hope this serious session could be uh, uh, could be complete with a good manner. And I hope to have to gain a substantial knowledge in the area of agentic AI. Thank you, Aflavi.
Okay, thank you, Tadele. I wish you the very best. So let's start right away. In this session, like I mentioned earlier, we are going to be building agentic AI systems and solutions in 10 different days. This session is going to span through 10 days. We are going to be having these classes 4 times a week. Initially, it's supposed to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. But now we are supposed to start yesterday, but we are starting today, meaning we are having another session tomorrow. And it spans like that up until Saturday. For each days within the week, it's going to be between 7 and 9 p.m. And for Saturday, it's also going to be between 7 and 8 p.m. And then for Saturday as well, it's going to be between 7 and 8 p.m. 10 days, for each of those days, you are going to be building solutions. And then you're going to be having an assignment. The assignment again is you're going to be provided with a Google Drive folder where you're going to be uploading your assignment. What does these solutions look like? Today, I'm going to introduce you into CrewAI. Like I have said, CrewAI is an agentic AI framework that enables you to build AI agents from simple AI agents to multi-agent systems, or from multi-agent systems. Multi-agent systems are systems that enables you to have multiple agents, all of them interacting with each other and along with the LLM to come up with a final solution. What is CrewAI? I want you to picture CrewAI as a building block of the agent itself, the task you are given to it, and the crew, which is the one that monitors what the agent and the task is, to ensure and enable that all at the end of the day have a supervisory mode that look at what the agent is doing and the task that is expected of it, to ensure that at the end of the day the task is accomplished. In CrewAI works as building blocks, like you can see here. An agent is a role-playing worker. Okay, an agent here is a role-playing worker, meaning it plays a particular role in the task given. That is, it has a particular role, a goal, and a backstory to it. A task is a single instruction you give it. A CrewAI, a crew, bundles agents and tasks together and runs them. So in a crew, like I mentioned earlier, it bundles both the agents and the tasks together by ensuring that the agents accomplish its task. It's a tool accomplish the task expected of it. And then the task is also stored to ensure that the expected output is delivered. So that's exactly the role of the crew there, to ensure the agent does its task and the task exactly is monitored to ensure the output is delivered. To start with, it's expected that you have a basic understanding of Python programming. And if you do, we are going to install CrewAI on your local machine. To install CrewAI on your local machine, all you have to do is to pip install CrewAI. I already have CrewAI installed on my local machine, so I really do not have to do that. But to confirm that it exists, I'll just run this. Sorry, since I had an error. So you run it again. Okay, so that is it. I have my CrewAI installed. So you can see successfully installed CrewAI, right? Version 0.1.7. So you can also install your CrewAI as well on your local machine. So if you are done, kindly indicate um, that you are done with that installation.
I would like to ask a question, please.
Oh,
So
please
in the
do.
mail we got, it said that we should have like Python 3.9. Can we use any other version apart from Python 3.9?
Yes, that's the minimum version of Python that you should have. I'm
Okay,
expecting that
minimum.
3.9, yeah, is the minimum version that is up to date with all of these latest libraries. So if you have something that is
Okay.
more than that, yes, you can.
Okay, thank you.
So I'd like to get feedback from others as well. Are you done installing your CrewAI? I'd like to get a response from us if you are done studying your CrewAI.
I'm not done. Still reading.
Can I hear you clearly? You said,
I said I'm not done. It's still
oh, okay.
installing.
Okay. I want to proceed. So maybe as I explain further, you can just install. You can keep installing, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great.
If you wish now.
Yes.
Okay, so um, your first agent to be built with CrewAI. So the first thing I want you to have in mind is for CrewAI, three things are very important. They are very important for you to be aware of and keep in mind. It is upon these three things that every other thing you're going to be learning about CrewAI sits on. The first is agent, the second is task, and the third is crew. As we proceed in this session, I'm going to be explaining to you what each of these is and how each of them contribute towards building an AI agent with CrewAI. By the end of this session, you're expected to understand what an agent, task, and crew represents. Also, you're expected to load a Gemini API key safely in a .env file. The Gemini API key is going to represent the Gemini LLM, which we can access through its API key, is what is going to represent the LLM, which we are going to be using in this session. Why? Because it's free to use. I mean, it's with some restrictions, but still free to access. The LLM, don't forget, I mentioned earlier, is the key to us understanding or using or building agentic AI workflows. So it's important to have an LLM that's working. But because a lot of them are free and Gemini is easily accessible, I mean, a lot of them are paid, but Gemini is easily accessible, it's free with some restrictions. So we choose to use this. The third learning objective is to be able to assemble and build crew. Crew yourself in CrewAI using the crew.kickoff function. The fourth is to learn the agent's verbose trace and to see how agentic AI systems think. Now, I'm going to explain what the concept is. An agent is a role-playing worker, meaning you give it a role to play. And it is this role that it uses to accomplish the task given to it. Then also, you give it a goal. A goal is what you want it to achieve at the end of the day. Then you give it also a backstory. A backstory represents the system prompt, a background understanding of what you want the LLM, the agent, to have in its thoughts while accomplishing the task you are giving to it. So let's say, for example, you want to give some backstory of what the agent should have in mind while working on the task. That exactly is what the backstory is. The LLM reads each of these, the agent, the goal, and the backstory, and speak in that voice. A task is the instruction with an expected output shape. The task is what you want to accomplish, and that is the instruction you are given to the agent to accomplish. A crew wraps them up together. Don't forget, like I mentioned earlier, a crew wraps up each of these parts of the agent, put them together, and make them work, or make the agent achieve its goal as is expected. In this, you are going to see the user interacting with the crew, while the crew is interacting with the agent and the tasks which are working together. The agent is working to accomplish the task, while the crew is supervising what the agent is doing to ensure that that task is accomplished. The first thing is you are going to get the API key for Gemini, which will be loaded in your env environment for secure use cases. When building any solution, you want to have your credentials, your confidential credentials, stored in a secure environment where it is not exposed for public to see. Exposing your API key means you are compromising a lot of information, or you are compromising the value that resource is giving. Expectedly, you are expected to pay for the API, but getting it for free does not mean you should still not protect it. Also, you have the agent. I've talked about this earlier. The agent gets the role, you're assigning to it the goal of what you want it to accomplish, and a backstory that shapes how it responds. Then also, you have the task. The task is the description of what you want to do. And also, this in it, you also have the expected output that tells how you want the response of the agent to look like. How do you want it to respond? All of those details will be defined within the task function. Then also you have the crew, which organizes the agent and the task together in a sequential method in order to ensure that the task is accomplished. An example of this, which you are going to be looking at in the first code, or the first example you'll be practicing in this class. An example is you have a warm, friendly two-sentence greeting welcoming the learner to CrewAI journey. So this is an example of the backstory you can be giving to the agent, telling it this is how you want it to respond. Then also in project 1, you are going to be building a personal trainer agent that introduces itself and gives motivational tips to start fitness journey. On starting your fitness journey. So things that you should be aware of. One is keep the role short and specific. So while writing your role, you should ensure that it is specific and it is short. You won't want a long and too much, cumbersome role. You want something that is short and specific to what you want it to do. And also, you also want to have a backstory where personality lives. Because don't forget, I explained this backstory as system prompts that defines how the agent sees itself on how it responds to the task given to it. Then often the variables to true. You're going to be looking at that while writing a code. So you can see how it reasons. So variables shows how the agent reasons. While responding to the task it gave it. Then also, you're going to be using Gemini for this task as an LLM, like I have mentioned earlier as well. Some of those errors you could encounter while working on this. Hello, Nancy. You're welcome to today's class.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. So I was just explaining earlier that the sudden cut in yesterday's class was not intentional. I had issues with my router, so I was just able to solve that this morning. So sorry about that. So today we'll continue from where we stopped yesterday. So I noticed we are just 3 on the platform. So since we have 2 already, so maybe we can just proceed. So yesterday I talked about building AI agents with CrewAI. I've explained what AI agents is. So today we look at building the first agent. So 3 things again are very important. I'm going to go over this again. I've gone through this yesterday, but for the sake of we were unable to complete yesterday's class, so I'll go over it again. 3 things are very important when building agents with CrewAI. The first is the agent, the second is the task, and the third is the crew. So in this class, you're going to be learning what an agent is, what a task is, and what the crew represents. Then also, you are expected to get Gemini API key. So to get the I'm going to take you through how you can get that. Another important thing is also you're going to see how to be able to assemble how you're going to be able to assemble and run your first crew with crew.kickoff function. And the last of the learning objective for today's class is to be able to read agent variables trace and see it think. So when you set your variables to true, you're going to see the thinking method or how the agent thinks before it gives out the response. So that's also something we are going to be looking at today. When you talk about the role, the goal, and the backstory, what does it mean? The role for an agent is a role, a persona that the agent imitates. An agent is a role-playing worker. You give it a role. So you give it a persona, you give it a characteristics that it imbibes while trying to execute the task you give it. Then also you have a goal. A goal is what you want to achieve. At the end of the day, what do you want this LLM, or what do you want the agent to do? So that is what your goal looks like. Then also you have a backstory. Like I mentioned yesterday, the backstory is the system prompt. The prompt which gives the agent some form of background information on what to keep in mind while trying to execute the task given to it. The LLM, in this case, Gemini, reads through each of these and speaks in that voice. The task is instruction with an expected output shape. So while also building the agents, you're also going to be having a task. This task is what you want it to do. And then also within that task, the task itself is a function which contains a lot of information regarding how and what you want this agent to do. Part of that information it's going to have is the output shape. So sometimes while you're executing your agent, so maybe the agent is to create a file while trying to do whatever it wants to do, that output shape will be there. So maybe you want it to write a document, okay, so you put it there that this is how I want the output of this task to look like. A crew wraps them up together and running. Don't forget I mentioned yesterday that the crew is the one that oversees all of this, and then it ensures that the real task as given to the agent is executed as expected. So in this case, you have the crew.kickoff, which wraps the agent and the task together, and then you have that, you have that relationship, that interaction between the agent and the task. So we are going to look at each of these as we proceed. The load.env, when you save your file, your credentials, such as your API key, which are very confidential information, not expected to be leaked out. When you save this important information in your .env file, you use the load_.env function to load them into your Python script. So that's one thing you will be seeing in the code you are going to be writing today. Another one is also the agent function, which consists of the role, the backstory, and the goal, like I explained earlier. And then also you're going to be having the task. The task contains description of what you want the agent to do, and also the output, how do you want the output to look like, also like I've explained earlier. Then also you have the crew. The crew function bundles the agent, the task, and the process that contains the information on how this agent will be built. Then the kickoff runs the agent and returns the output. So here you have this. Your function here, we have no inputs, the greeter greets unprompted. So in this case, you have no inputs, no system prompt, but you just want the crew agent to respond in this way. You want it to respond with a warm, friendly, two-sentence greeting, welcoming the learner to their CrewAI journey. So this is going to be the expected output you want from the agent, which you are going to do today. In today's class, we are going to be building an agent that returns. I'm going to be explaining that as I proceed anyway. So in this class, we are going to be building a personal trainer agent that welcomes themselves and give one motivational tip to start a fitness journey. So let's say you want to start your journey into fitness. Probably you want to start going to the gym, or you want to start your own personal training. You want to build an agent that introduces itself and then give you a motivation to go through for your fitness journey, right? For that day. So that is what you are going to be building. Okay. So these are some of the hints I want you to just keep in mind while we build this. The first thing is we are going to ensure that we keep the role of this agent short. Okay, so let's say a personal trainer, not a helpful AI assistant. Short and specific. An helpful AI assistant is generic. But when you talk about a personal trainer, it's more specific. It's specific to what you want it to do. The backstory is where personality lives. Give it 2 or 3 vivid sentences. So in the backstory, like I mentioned earlier, which is the system prompt and the information you want the agent to have in mind while building the agent. So in this case, it's recommended you have to the 3 sentences, so which we'll see how that looks like as well. Then also here you have the verbose to be equal to true. So don't forget I mentioned that one of the learning objectives is to ensure that you see how the agents think. And we achieve that by setting verbose equals to true. And to do that, doing that will ensure that we see the reasoning steps of the agent while it delivers the expected output. And then also in this class, you're going to be using Gemini 2.5 Flash. So Gemini 2.5 Flash is the version of Gemini LLM we are going to be using for this task. So here are some of the errors you should keep in mind. This could be, you could find this error while running your code, and then you should not be surprised. You can look at these likely causes for the reason why you are getting that error. Okay, so start now. To start with, you're expected to go to minutes. To get your Gemini API key, you're expected to go to so you're expected to go to aistudio.google.com. At aistudio.google.com, you have the access to generate your own API key. So here you have the ability to, create your own API key, right? So here you can, just click on create API key as you have it here. And when you do, you have your own API key created. I'm not going to be doing that because I have my API key already. So I expect you to do that. So now back to the code. Are we ready?
Yes, I'm with you.
Yes.
Okay, if you are ready. So the first thing is we are going to import required libraries for this. So one of those required libraries you are going to be needing here is, of course, CrewAI. So, but from CrewAI, we need some important functions. So I'll say don't forget I mentioned three things are very important. One is the agents, the task, and the crew. So which are the three things you are going to be importing here? Agents, task, and crew. Another important thing we are going to be importing here is process. What is process? You're going to see how that what that is as this class proceeds. So after importing CrewAI, you're also going to import OS, operating system. Don't forget, the OS is what we are going to use to fetch our API key from the .env file. Another thing we are going to also import is the .env library. So from .env, we are going to import load_.env. So now that you have imported required libraries. The next thing is you are going to fetch our API key. So to fetch our API key, to fetch our API key, the first thing is you are going to load the .env file or the credentials stored in our .env file into this Python script. And to do that, you need to call the load_.env function. So after doing that, to fetch our API key, so we have os.getEnv. Then in that you have, so here you are going to put the variable used to store your API key. So for me, I stored it with Gemini _API key. Are we together, class?
Yes.
Okay. So that's that. I've been able to fetch the API key. Now, the next thing for me is to specify what Gemini model am I going to be using. So to do that, you have Gemini model. Don't forget I mentioned in the introductory session that we are going to be using Gemini 2.5 Flash. So in that case, you have Gemini. Okay. So now we have been able to import the required libraries. We've been able to invoke the load_.env function to call the credentials stored in the .env file. We've been able to retrieve the API key stored in a confidential file. Then also we've been able to define the Gemini model we want to use. The next thing we are going to do is, don't forget we have a task, and the task is to build a personal trainer that gives motivation, introduces itself and gives motivational quotes. To do that, we are going to define the agent. We are going to name the agent greeter. So greeter because it greets. Now, to define the agent, we are going to call the agent function. Don't forget earlier from CrewAI, we imported 4 functions: agent, task, crew, and process. The first one we are going to be using here is the agent function. Now, within this agent function, we are going to define 3 very important things. 3 very important things are going to be going into this agent function. The first one is the role. The second one is the goal. And the third is the backstory. The role, the goal, and the backstory. So these are the 3 different variables that you're going to be defining within this function, or 3 different arguments that will be defined within the function. So what is the role? The role is a personal trainer. Why? Because we want something short and direct. Something short, specific, and direct. Short. Why? Because we want something that is clear. Defining the role of the agent has to be clear. Specific, because we have a specific thing we want to do. We want to build an agent that gives motivation when going for daily exercise, right? So that's a personal trainer, right? And it's better to use a personal trainer, like I mentioned earlier, than an helpful AI assistant. Helpful AI assistant is more generic, while a personal trainer is more specific. Now, the goal. The goal of this is to warmly train the individual on how to enhance his physical fitness. So because you want to use a warmful text, we want to use a text that is warmful and also that's, creates that sense of doing it for the agent, or that creates an emotional sense for it. Okay? So in that case, we have this. We have the goal is to warmly train individual on how to enhance his physical fitness. So that is the goal. The goal is to train individual on how to enhance his physical fitness. Then we have the backstory. Now, the backstory is going to be 2 to 3 sentences, like we mentioned earlier, providing information on what the agent should have in mind while executing the task. So something like a system prompt. So the first thing is to define the persona of the agent. So you have this, you are a personal trainer. Don't forget that was what we defined it as earlier. And you provide okay, so here we have the backstory. You are a personal trainer and you provide personal assistance to people training the physical being, okay? Or to people training physically, something like that could be the backstory. So this is a sentence providing more context, adding the persona to the agents on what to do. In addition to this, you are still going to add some other details. Another detail we are going to be adding is the LLM, the LLM argument. The LLM argument is the LLM we are using, the large language model we are using. In this case, we are using Gemini, which we defined earlier. Then also, don't forget, you are going to define the verbose. The verbose again is going to ensure that the thought process of the agent, we can be able to see the thought process of the agent. So after defining the agent itself, the next thing is to define the task of what the agent is to do. And to do that, you are going to call the second function we imported earlier, which is the task function. The task function is going to be assigned to an argument. So in this case, we can say training task. training task. This task function is going to be taking three arguments. The first one is the description. The description of the task is what the task function is going to be taking in. The second argument is the expected output. The expected output is the second argument the function will be taking. While the third argument is the agents. Agent arguments. Now, the description, to start with the description. What is the description? So here we are going to assign a description on the task the agent is going to be doing. In this case, we have introduce yourself as a personal trainer and give the user one motivational tip to start their fitness journey. Don't forget that this agent is going to, one, introduce itself, and then also give a motivational tip on individuals who are starting their motivational journey. Okay, so don't forget that the agent is going to be, one, introducing itself, and second, giving motivational tip to users who want to start their fitness journey, right? So to do that, you have it here, introduce yourself. Introduce yourself as a personal trainer. Okay, give the user one motivational to start their fitness journey. Your fitness journey, right? So this is the description, since this is what we want to do. Now, the expected output is to be what's encouraging and impactful. So because these users are going to be going on their motivation, on their fitness journey, so you want something that is motivational, and something that is motivational should be encouraging, should encourage them to, stay out of their bed and go for this fitness, activity. So here we have, it should be encouraging and impactful. Okay, so now what agent are we using? We are using the greeter agent. We are using the greeter agent. Any question on this class? Don't forget, this greeter agent was the agent we defined earlier. Any question? Okay, in absence of any questions, so the next thing we are going to be defining again is the crew. Don't forget, I mentioned earlier that the crew is that function that brings the agent and the task together in order to be able to, ensure that the task is executed as expected. So here we are going to define the crew. Okay. So the crew function, don't forget the crew, was imported earlier, so it's called here. The crew function is going to be taking four arguments. The first of which is the agent. Agents. Why? Because CrewAI is a framework that does not just have the ability to build a single agent like we have in this case. We can have multiple agents like we are going to be seeing in our next sessions. In our next sessions, we are going to be in some of our classes before we wrap up this session. You see that we are going to be building agents that consist of multiple other agents, what we call multi-agent systems. So in that case, for any number of agents you have, you list them out in a list here, pointing towards these argument agents. So because we have just one agent in this task, so you are going to list out the agents we have, which is creator. Then the second argument is the tasks. Okay, tasks. In this case, we have just a single task, but it's also possible to have multiple tasks, all running sequentially, working together to be able to achieve the desired outcome. Okay, so for any number of tasks you do have, you're going to list them out inside this task argument. So because we have just one task, I would say training. I'll list out the task we have, which is a training task. Then also we have another argument called process. Now the process argument defines how the agent is being run. In this case, the agent is being run sequentially because we have just a single task to run. So very simple sequential task from one end to the other between the agent and the task. So just exchanging information in order to achieve this. So it's just a simple task consisting of one agent, one task, and also a sequential task. So it's because of that that we'll be using sequential process, the sequential, which is a sequential method of running these agents. So don't forget I mentioned sequential because it is a single agent system and also consists of a single task. If it is more than that, then the situation will change regarding how the task is going to be executed. But because we have a simple one agent, one task situation, so we are going to be using the sequential method. So in order to define that, you can see here, I assign a value process the sequential, defining that this agent is going to run sequentially. Again, here we are going to define verbose. Verbose is going to be true. I believe you can remember the reason why verbose is true. In order for us to be able to see the output of what we want the agent to do, we are going to use the crew.kickoff function. Crew.kickoff function is the one that is going to print out the message or the motivational message, right, from the agent to the individual. So here we have activation. Okay, now we print motivation. Okay, in order to run this, so I'm just going to come here. So I have Python. So don't forget, I have saved my code from here. So here you're going to run it. So let's wait for the outputs. Okay, it's giving some warning messages here. Okay, minutes. Looks like there's an error somewhere. Uh, minutes. Let me see what the error is about. Okay. So here I can try to look at where the error is coming from. Gent.py. Okay, someone is trying to ask a question. You can go ahead, please. Beta, beta. Trying to see where the error is coming from. Oh, Python version. Looks like my Python version could be a potential problem. Minutes. Gemini 25. It should be motivation, not motivation. So just wait a bit to let these libraries install finish. Then you can proceed. Launching. So let's just wait a bit. Seems it has installed the libraries we need. So we just have to be patient a bit since it has installed the libraries, but it has to return the prompt before we can do anything. So let's just wait a bit. Let's just be a bit patient. Okay, so here is the task is starting. So here you can see, okay, so here's the final output. Hey there, I'm Alex. I'm absolutely thrilled of your personal, um, to be your personal trainer. My passion is this and that. So you can see that. Then when I talk about the variables being equal to true, so you can see the thought process of the agents, right? From how the execution started, giving you the notification information of the agent starting. Then here you have the agent started and the final answer. Okay, so this is how you can build your AI agent. So with this, we come to the end of today's session. We meet again tomorrow. Have a great day.